Part 51. Tokyo's Most Affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 516. A celebration party? It's indeed worth celebrating. Igarashi Runa thought about this suggestion and agreed with it. For the previous Huan-seeing firm, the value of a single contract exceeded 100 million, which could allow a department and team to hold a celebration banquet. The value of a contract worth hundreds of billions of yen is self-evident. After nodding, she also answered the phone. This call from Sony politely asked if we could cooperate in the future. The purpose is easy to guess. I want to confirm the copyright authorization issue, whether it has been authorized. Cooperation in the artist industry, even if it is a large cooperation, rarely involves a confidentiality agreement. Rather, because artists need exposure, such sky-high contracts will be made public and promoted in every possible way. Igarashi Runa didn't hide anything. Sony could only say it was a pity and hope there would be opportunities for cooperation in the future. They exchanged a few pleasantries and then hung up. Immediately afterwards, the person in charge of Penguin's contact with Zero Hour Agency also called. The content of the call was almost the same. It was nothing more than a few pleasantries, expressing regrets and looking forward to working together next time. I have something to do tonight, so I have to leave first. After she finished the call, Kurosawa Hikaru spoke. I'll give it to you. Igarashi Runa looked at him slightly sideways, a bit resentful, but didn't ask any more questions, just said. From this point of view, even though she had thrown herself into her arms just now, Kurosawa just didn't agree, not just because of issues such as timing and atmosphere. After all, today is Tuesday, the time when he works part-time as a tutor for Sci-fi Future. No, I can just take a taxi myself. Kurosawa Hikaru was swept away by her complaining gaze and felt a little guilty. At this time, there are many people outside the office. If you go out, you will inevitably be seen. You can drive my car. The gas fee is much cheaper than the fare. Igarashi Runa actually didn't mean to blame him, nor did she plan to follow him, she just considered the issue of privacy. After all, she already knew that Kurosawa had several girlfriends and would definitely not be able to accompany her all the time. The contract is signed, have a good rest. Seeing her considerate look, Kurosawa Hikaru felt guilty. He took 2 steps forward, supported her waist, and kissed her gently on the lips to express comfort. Is there a celebration party tomorrow? Igarashi Runa was kissed by him, rolled his eyes at him, and did not forget to ask. Tomorrow evening. Kurosawa nodded. He can't spend time with her today. If he manages his time better, he will be free tomorrow night. Do you want to call all the employees of the office? After thinking about it, Igarashi Runa didn't know how to arrange it and wanted to consult him for advice. A pair of beautiful eyes fell on his face. Kurosawa Hikaru fell into deep thought and felt that this problem was not limited to the surface. Normally, when zero-hour firm signs a contract worth hundreds of billions, all employees will naturally be invited to the celebration banquet. But she wanted to confirm, does this mean other subtexts? For example, she wanted to listen to his arrangements, just like last time, it was just a celebration banquet for 2 people, a candlelight dinner, drinking and having fun together, the night filled the air, and the drunkenness was charming. But doing so would be too hasty. At this moment, he suddenly remembered the system's voice, new mission. At the same time, many words appeared in front of his eyes. Same as last time, it's just me and you celebrating, but this time we go to your house. Kurosawa Hikaru took a look at the content of the new mission and immediately knew the answer. Aren't you going to call Chizuru? You didn't call her last time. Igarashi Runa's heart trembled when he heard this, and he was deeply touched. A look of panic appeared on his face, and he grabbed his left arm with his right hand. This subconscious action made her look very feminine and a bit weak. Sisterkin, he still has to go to work. Let's tell her the good news first, and wait until she has a holiday to celebrate together. As for other employees, you can make arrangements. There are many people in the office, and there are some things to do to hold a celebration banquet. Just be prepared. Seeing her feminine movements, Kurosawa Hikaru smiled slightly. You're right, then arrange it like this. Igarashi Runa nodded slightly to show her approval. Her beautiful eyes looked at Kurosawa Hikaru and confirmed again that there was light in her eyes. There is no need to explain what it means for a man and a woman to hold a celebration banquet. That's the arrangement. I'll leave first. Kurosawa Hikaru reached out and pinched her soft cheek, and was about to leave. Go. This time, Igarashi Runa's attitude was no longer resentful, but she agreed calmly. Seeing the smile on her face and her contented look, Kurosawa felt it was cute and kissed her again before leaving. After a while, he walked into the garage, got in the car, fastened his seat belt, and pressed the remote control of the electric rolling door placed in the car. Taking advantage of the gap when the rolling shutter door was rising, he had nothing to do and looked at this date task again. Date mission, home date with Igarashi Runa. Mission goal, meet Igarashi Runa at home, make dinner together, give her a massage to relieve the fatigue accumulated at work, sleep in each other's arms. Task duration, 48 hours. Mission funds, entry-level cooking Japanese food, entry-level massage. Mission rewards, entry-level cooking skills, Japanese food, entry-level massage. According to his idea, he originally wanted to find an opportunity to ask Miss Runa out for a vacation, to go around and relax, and gradually build up during the day's date until the atmosphere reaches its peak at night, and then spend the night together. However, the appearance of this task made him understand Miss Runa's desire. You know, even Chizuru, who had expected to go on a hot spring trip with him before, had a mission deadline of 7 days. Let alone the special date when Xiaoyuki asked him to pretend to be her boyfriend and go to karaoke to save the situation. The situation was urgent, and the mission deadline was only 24 hours. Miss Runa's date mission this time was definitely the shortest, showing the need for the sooner the better. In addition, what he never expected was that the trigger location of Miss Runa's date mission was actually at home. You must know that the date location is very important, which means a stage full of possibilities. Karaoke, amusement park, hotel, beach, archery field, waterside, izakaya, skating rink, hot spring hotel. Compared with these special places, home is a development that Kurosawa Hikaru never thought of. After all, the most important core of the dating mission is to create beautiful memories for two people. It is not difficult to see that Igarashi Runa has a different understanding of romance and beauty. For her, cooking together is romantic. The electric shutter door was opened, and Kurosawa Hikari reversed out of the garage and pressed the button again. He did not rush to leave, but waited until the garage was closed before leaving. Miss Runa, the beautiful girl, is still in the office. If he leaves carelessly, it will be dangerous if someone sneaks in. Not long after, Kurosawa Hikari drove to a traffic light. When drivers are waiting for traffic lights, it is the most boring time, because they can't do anything but wait. Some people will take this opportunity to look at their phones, some will look around to see beautiful women, and some will chat with friends. My massage has reached the perfect level. What will happen if I get a reward? Isn't the perfect level the highest level? As for Kurosawa Hikari, he noticed something and thought secretly in his heart. As he was thinking, perhaps it involved keywords, the system spoke. Perfect level skills are full level. If the task rewards are repeated, the skills can no longer be upgraded and will automatically be converted into one chance to draw a lottery. Lottery. Kurosawa Hikaru seemed to have realized something when he learned about this. It has to be said that it is quite difficult to get a chance to draw a lottery. You must complete the achievement task. However, the conditions of the achievement task are hidden, and can only be triggered by luck. Nowadays, there is another way to obtain it, which is to repeat the rewards on the basis of perfect level skills. And the rewards for the lottery are also varied, such as survival in the wild. He couldn't imagine how special his date's hobbies must be to trigger such a task reward. Anyway, a lottery is a lottery, and there are always unexpected surprises. If the rewards are repeated, you can get a chance to draw a lottery, then can't I brush it more times? Kurosawa Hikaru's thoughts immediately became active when he learned about this method. In fact, the difficulty of obtaining various skills is different. For example, swimming and skating are definitely the easiest skills to get, because they are seen limited skills. One is the beach, the other is the skating rink. Whenever you go on a date with someone at the beach, you must swim. Whenever you go on a date with someone at the skating rink, you must skate. Ballet is not fixed, but his date is Miki Shiraha, a girl who loves figure skating. In comparison, other skills are not so easy to get. Putting aside other skills, swimming is very easy to brush. He has 5 girlfriends, it's not too much to take them all to the beach once, right? And the beach scene is not limited to one time for each girlfriend. For example, Xiaoyuki, maybe she likes the sea more, so she has triggered 2 beach dates. Driving, Kurosawa Hikaru did not go to the city center immediately, but went home to take a shower. Because he was with Xiaoyuki first, although he didn't hug much in the morning, he just hugged Miss Runa for a while. His 5 girlfriends are all fragrant. If he doesn't change clothes, it will be bad if there is perfume from other women on his body. Although the future is more traditional, generous, and open-minded, and knowing that he has other girlfriends, he may not care. But considering the lesson from Sister Kin, he felt that he needed to be careful. He didn't want to suffer the same loss for the second time. Don't be too arrogant when you are a scumbag. It's better to be safe than sorry. After returning home, he took a quick shower, changed into new clothes, dried his hair and blow-dried it, and then he set off again. Tokyo's Most Affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 517. In a luxury apartment in the city center, the study door was knocked and then opened. "Miss, dinner is ready." Sayaka Akai, who wears a maid outfit 365 days a year, walked in. Coming. Sifenuen Marai, who was studying at the desk, looked back at her, with a little regret and loss in his eyes, but he still stood up. Tuesday and Thursday are the time for her to study seriously, rain or shine. Seeing her depressed look, Akai Sayaka opened her mouth, but still didn't speak, and just followed her. She didn't know how to comfort the eldest lady. The person who caused this situation was not her, but Mr. Kurosawa. Mr. Kurosawa asked for leave last Tuesday, saying that he was busy with something. He had to take leave on Thursday, and he didn't have time on Sunday. After not seeing each other for a week, the eldest lady thought that Mr. Kurosawa would come today. After dancing class, she took a shower and changed clothes, and specially changed into a set of beautiful clothes. People rely on clothes and horses rely on saddles. The eldest lady is inherently beautiful, and with the special dressing up, even if she has watched the eldest lady grow up and accompanied her day and night, she is still amazed. She was full of anticipation, as if her beautiful eyes would shine, and she was as beautiful as a fairy. She was in a low mood, as if her beautiful eyes were gloomy, and now she looked pitiful. After a while, Sifenjai Yuan walked to the restaurant in the future and sat down at the dining table. Sifenjai Yuan looked at the delicious food in front of him in the future, but he had no appetite at all and sighed deeply. "Miss, please feel free to eat some." Seeing this scene, Sayaka Akai, who was already waiting at the side, had to speak. The maids and housekeepers of the Akai family are truly personal. Not only to ensure the safety of the owner, but also to take care of daily life and healthy eating. Oh, okay. When Siphon Jiayuan heard this in the future, he obviously didn't want to eat, but he had to eat. He only felt more uncomfortable. He let out a long sigh, nodded and picked up the chopsticks. What's going on? You look sad. At this moment, a brisk and concerned voice sounded. As soon as the sound came out, Akai Sayaka was shocked. She followed the sound and saw a person. It was a man with thick black hair, starry eyes, a high nose, handsome features and a tall figure. He was wearing a short-sleeved white shirt and trousers. His skin was clean and delicate, and he looked very white. He was holding a briefcase in his hand, with a gentle smile on his face. Because my husband is gone, missing. Siphon Jiayuan saw the face he was thinking about in the future, saw that he was still smiling, and thought that he had been sighing just now, and he suddenly felt resentful and snorted. How could such a good husband disappear, madam? Your husband may have been delayed by something, such as a traffic jam. Kurosawa Hikaru saw her expression of joy when she complained, and immediately walked over. It's also possible that he was murdered. He has been missing for 7 days and there is no news. Siphon Jiayuan Mirai holds the knife and fork in both hands, straightens his back, sits elegantly, and speaks coldly. Madam, as far as I know, your husband is both civil and military, has natural supernatural powers, and can fight 100 people. I'm afraid he won't be murdered that easily. Why don't you tell me his personal characteristics, and I'll help you find them. Kurosawa walked directly to her side, pulled out a chair on the side and sat down, with the attitude of a detective handling a case. In this luxurious apartment, Siphon Jiayuan's future seat is the main seat, which is at one end of the 2 corners of the long table. There is no extra space for others to sit. He has 2 eyes, 2 ears, a nose, and a lip. Siphon Jiayuan Mirai's bright and beautiful red eyes, like rubies, reflected his face, and his lips were slightly parted. This range is a bit broad. Everyone has. Does he have any specific characteristics? For example, what is his name, whether he is handsome or not, etc. His name is Kurosawa Hikaru, he is very handsome. Madam, my name happens to be Kurosawa Hikaru, and I am very handsome, could it be that your missing husband is me? Hearing this, Kurosawa Hikaru suddenly took a breath of air and asked in disbelief. Siphon Jiayuan saw that he loved acting in the future, and the corners of his mouth twitched a few times. He was almost amused, but he still tensed up. As a rich lady, it is very important to learn expression management. I was wrong. I wasn't going to be late. I was just delayed by some things. Seeing that she didn't laugh, Kurosawa Hikaru stopped smiling playfully and decisively lowered his head to admit his mistake. He agreed last week that he would come to tutor today, but he didn't come at 4:30 and didn't come until 6:30. I was indeed happy to see him appear in the future, but the sigh just now was really sad. Even though Future's thinking is very traditional, he never cares about how many women he has outside, but this is based on the premise of a sufficient sense of security. If he was fooling around outside and was so obsessed with other women that he even forgot to go home, he would definitely mind in the future. And the future seems to be generous, considerate, and sensible, but she is still an 18-year-old girl after all, and she can be jealous, but she doesn't show it obviously. So you were late because you were delayed by something, so that's how it is. Remember to tell me earlier next time. I thought you were missing. Finding that he realized the problem, Siphon Jiayuan Mirai no longer suppressed her smile, and a charming arc appeared at the corner of her mouth, and she nodded contentedly. If lovers want to have no grudges, they must communicate well and be honest with each other. Okay. Kurosawa Hikaru heard her implication, that is, it's okay if you are late, but remember to tell me. If you find that you are going to be late, send a message to Mirai first, then nothing will happen. After all, she is very considerate and generous. Eat. Shifunjayuan Mirai smiled and looked at the dinner on the table again, and felt that her appetite was whetted. Fortunately, I came here today. Seeing that she was smiling brightly, Kurosawa Hikaru couldn't help but secretly said in his heart. Fortunately, he is a man with pursuits, and he enjoys the process of dating and love. He is not a pervert who is greedy for his girlfriend's body and has that kind of thing in his mind. If he hadn't resisted Miss Runa's advances, ignored the atmosphere and timing, and took the opportunity to sign a 100 billion contract and started directly, he would definitely not be able to come tonight. If he missed today and came to see Mirai on Thursday, the consequences would be disastrous. The dinner was very sumptuous. Even though he was late, Akai Sayaka still made his portion. However, it was no longer a rice bowl, but was made together with Shifunjayuan Mirai's dinner, with a variety of dishes. Ever since Kurosawa Hikaru gave the head of the family a business card and had dinner together, he no longer ate on the sofa, but ate at the dining table. Sayaka, did you know that Hikaru was coming up? After eating for a while, Shifunjayuan Mirai remembered something and asked. When Hikaru appeared just now, the maid's reaction seemed quite surprised. Although there are many people who have elevator cards, such as her tutors, they are not free to enter and exit, and can only come at specific times. If they do not come at a fixed time, the bodyguard team will notify them. In addition, any guest who takes the elevator to the apartment will have the maid waiting in front of the elevator. If they are not her direct relatives, such as her mother and father, other guests need to be checked and searched. Such strict security standards are because the direct members of the Shifunjayuan family have been kidnapped many times. Although they are basically unsuccessful, some have succeeded. I didn't receive reports from the bodyguards, maybe because they think Mr. Kurosawa is special. Akai Sayaka shook her head slightly and explained. Mr. Kurosawa suddenly appeared in this house without any notification, which was considered a dereliction of duty by the bodyguards. However, she thought that this matter was excusable, so she still wanted to think of a reasonable explanation for the bodyguards, making a big thing small, and a small thing nothing. Shifunjayuan Mirai nodded slightly and said no more. In fact, she had no intention of pursuing responsibility, but was just a little curious. Not long after, dinner was over. Let's go, it's time to study. After eating and drinking, Shifunjayuan Mirai wiped the corners of her mouth with a handkerchief and stood up. Okay. Hearing this, Kurosawa Hikaru naturally stood up and followed. However, just as he caught up with her, Kurosawa Hikaru was shocked. Because when he came, Shifunjayuan Mirai was already sitting at the dining table, and because the tablecloth was very long, he couldn't see her whole body. But now, after Mirai stood up and walked, he suddenly discovered something. Mirai was wearing a very beautiful black and white dress today, that is, the upper part, above the chest, is white and the lower body is a black skirt. Under the short skirt, her beautiful legs are wrapped in one white and one black stockings, which looks extremely seductive and extremely tempting. That's right, one white and one black. The left leg is super thin and transparent white silk, and the right leg is super thin and transparent black silk, a mixed way of wearing. The future is tall and has a pair of super beautiful legs that leg models envy, plus a unique way of dressing. This is not as simple as a small tip to meet your boyfriend, but a big tip. Following behind her, seeing such a back, Kurosawa Hikaru's eyes were completely attracted. I have to say that the one who understands him is Mirai. No wonder Mirai is so disappointed and sad. As the saying goes, a short separation is better than a new marriage. After a week, they finally met. She studied her outfit with great anticipation and changed into a super beautiful dress. As a result, her boyfriend was not only late, but also had no news, and it was even possible that he would not come. What the hell? Shifunjayuan Mirai, who was walking in front, heard his subconscious exclamation and was a little confused, but did not turn around, but continued to walk forward, as if nothing had happened. The English exclamation is "Oh my God," the Korean is "Silba," and what language is "What the hell?" 2 more chapters are here, and I ask for monthly tickets at the beginning of the month. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Tokyo's Most Affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Woojin. Chapter 518. The two of them sat at the desk, apparently in class, but actually chatting. After not being together for nearly 7 days, Shifunjayuan Mirai had a lot to say. In the face of her questions, Kurosawa Hikaru originally thought that there should be secrets between lovers, such as going to Hakone Hot Springs with Chizuru and taking Xiaoyuki back to her hometown. However, under Shifunjayuan Mirai's offensive, he was ultimately unable to hold the line. Although Mirai can type with her feet, although she is not as flexible as her hands, she is not much worse. In this case, she is wearing black and white, and she touches your legs from time to time under the table. Who can resist this? You must know that secretly teasing a man with your feet under the table is a super powerful way to tease a man. For foot control, this is not just a means, but a killer move. 100 billion, you really did an incredible thing. Shifunjayuan Mirai didn't ask much about other girlfriends. After talking, he finally learned the reason for his lateness and was really shocked. Even if the family assets of the Shifunjayuan family have reached a terrifying height, it can be said to be one of the richest families in Japan. But even if it is a rich lady, it is impossible not to regard 100 billion as money. It's okay, it's just Japanese yen. Facing her surprised eyes, Kurosawa Hikaru suddenly felt a little flattered, but he remained calm and waved his hand gently. I have to say that it is still very nice to surprise the future. My husband is so awesome. Shifunjayuan Mirai can see that he is actually very happy, and he also stepped up his efforts. A smart woman will never be stingy with praise, recognition, and admiration when facing her lover. Her reaction is not acting. Perhaps a contract of 100 billion yen is not the highest among artists, idols, artists, and sports superstars around the world. But as a pianist and an artist, Hikaru has been in the industry for a short time. In such a short period of time, signing a contract of this level is simply terrible in the entertainment industry around the world. It is not difficult for her to imagine what kind of reaction Apple will cause once the news that it has reached a contract with 0 Hour and obtained the copyright agency rights for the song is reported. For the entertainment industry and the music industry, it will be a great earthquake that can sweep the world. Mirai, stop grinding. Kurosawa Hikaru's vanity was infinitely satisfied by her admiration, but he felt a headache when he felt her feet under the table gently rubbing his legs. Although he had met the parents and sent the head of the family business card to his mother-in-law, he was free to come and go in this apartment. Even if he held hands with Mirai, or chatted directly, or had dinner together, it didn't matter. But Akai Sayaka was still watching from behind, and there were surveillance cameras in the study, so he couldn't do anything to Shifunjayuan Mirai. This led to an embarrassing dilemma. Shifunjayuan Mirai made him feel itchy, but he couldn't do anything. Don't you like it? When Shifunjayuan Mirai saw him calling for a stop, she became playful instead, and looked at him cunningly with a pair of ruby-like beautiful eyes. Men are so lustful, and women are so stuffy. Men are like mangoes, yellow on the outside and even yellower on the inside. Women are like eggs, pure on the outside and yellow on the inside. Most girls, in the process of dating, will gradually peel off their reserved appearance and show their true colors when facing the person they like. You can only show off here. Don't let me catch the opportunity, or you will have a good juice to eat. Kurosawa Hikaru saw her happy look, and whispered viciously. What opportunity? Shifunjayuan Mirai saw him helpless and laughed mischievously. Her jade feet under the table gently stepped on his instep, as if showing her status as a hunter. Girls are just like cats, pursuing excitement and full of curiosity. In fact, cats never catch mice for food. In many cases, they catch them when they are full, and simply use mice as tools to vent their energy. She was so depressed after not seeing each other for a week. If she didn't interact with Kurosawa Hikaru more, she would not be satisfied at all. She just wanted to tease Kurosawa and make him react more. Did Aunt Fubuki do anything this week? Kurosawa Hikaru smiled mysteriously, didn't say much, but changed the subject. By now, Kurosawa Hikaru has been through a lot, so he knows very well that girls are eager for love affairs. However, girls are more reserved, so they won't say it directly, and they usually hint and seduce. For example, when the husband comes home, his wife changes into a sexy and very tempting skirt and wears the clothes you like, which means she has let it go. There is also the case that the husband is working or busy with other things, and the wife keeps harassing you. There is also a more implicit way of expression, that is, she wants to hug you, but the location is on the bed or on the sofa. Anyway, it is a situation of being alone. No. Shifunjayuan Mirai saw his mysterious smile, as if he was planning something bad, and his heartbeat accelerated unconsciously. What does he mean by this? Does he want to plan the next elopement and being alone? Although the methods of teasing are divided into men and women, they are similar. Regardless of men and women, making people feel expected is always the strongest teasing technique. In fact, she deliberately flirted with Kurosawa Hikaru just to make him angry and plan the next elopement. There's none. Hearing this answer, Kurosawa Hikaru looked at her meaningfully, thoughtfully. Actually, there was a reaction. My mother knew you were taking me to the beach before, so she specifically told Sayaka to take me home at night. Saifunjayuan saw the cunning look in his eyes in the future, panicked, and changed his words. This cannot be said too absolutely. It would be bad if he misunderstood the previous elopement and there would be no consequences. Kurosawa Hikaru immediately became happy when he noticed the way she changed her words in a panic. But just as he was about to speak, the system's prompt sounded, new mission. Dating mission, secret meeting with Saifunjayuan's future boudoir. Mission goal, meet in the boudoir of Saifunjayuan's house, be alone for 4 hours, kiss 10 times, make her feel stimulated 5 times. Task period, 15 days. Mission funds, mastery level hacker, experience card. Mission reward, mastery level hacker, permanent. Master hacker? Boudoir. 4 hours alone? Exciting. Even Kurosawa Hikaru was well informed and was stunned when he saw this mission. This was the first time he saw the dating funds provided by the system, which were directly proficient level. Skip the entry level and jump to the proficient level. Isn't this just a lottery? And entering the boudoir, kissing, being alone for 4 hours, pursuing excitement, isn't this too crazy? The mission goal is something that the woman deeply desires to happen. Task capital is the ability that the woman desires the man to have. She wants me to hack the camera, convince the maid, and spend 4 hours alone with her? There's also excitement. Does she want to play under the lights? The emergence of this mission gave Kurosawa Hikaru a lot of ideas. Every word in this dating mission has a meaning. If you want to pursue excitement, then follow through to the end. Although my mother's attitude is like this, she is not angry. As long as we control the number of times we go out during the day and get home before night. Saifunjayuan saw him fall silent in the future and didn't say anything for a long time, thinking that he was worried about solving the problem, so he added. Although they can't go out to play every day, it's not bad to go out to play once in a while, which can be regarded as a reconciliation before going to college. New. Kurosawa Hikari came back to his senses, collected his thoughts for the time being, and nodded. He knew that it would not be a problem for him to elope with the future a few times. Otherwise, he would not be so cruel as to give away the business card of the head of the family. You know, the business card of the head of the family is worth hundreds of billions. To put it bluntly, if he made a request and wanted the Sifenjayuan family to give him 100 billion, the Sifenjayuan family would give it to him. Of course, the value of that business card is not just as simple as the apparent value of hundreds of billions, but also the blessings of status, honor, rarity, etc. Agwang, you just said not to let you catch the opportunity. What will happen if you catch me? Seeing that he looked calm and there was obviously no misunderstanding, Sifenjayuan Marai secretly breathed a sigh of relief. His feet under the table began to be dishonest again. He stepped on his insteps and climbed up gently, climbing up his calves, as if a snake is climbing. It really pissed me off. I don't care about anything. Even if you stay in the apartment, it's not safe. Ms. Sayaka can't save you. I said so. Kurosawa Hikaru realized that she was really ready to make a move, so he immediately leaned in front of her snow-white ears and said in a deep voice. Isn't it safe in the apartment? The maid can't save me. The whisper in his ear made Sifenjayuan's future pupils suddenly dilate, and he felt like he was distracted. She understood instantly, because there are two situations when a girl makes a boy angry. One is the fire element, and the other is also the fire element, but the consequences are completely different. At the same time, the system prompt sounded in Kurosawa Hikaru's ears. Mission progress update, make her feel exciting 1/5. It was obvious that what Sifenjayuan wanted to happen deep in his heart in the future was brought out by his threatening words with just a few clicks. Yeah. Sifenjayuan Marai, who seemed to have a little deer running around in his heart, his eyes flashed with panic, and then he regained his composure. He was very cold and arrogant, with an attitude of I don't believe it. As a rich young lady, she manages her expressions very professionally, and there is basically no chance of her being shocked. Although she looked calm on the outside, a demonic seed was planted deep in her heart. She really wanted to see what Hikaru Kurosawa would do to make it unsafe for her even in the apartment. When you are angry, you have to make me look good, right? I want to see what you can do to me. Thinking of this, her actions under the table became even more aggressive. You don't believe it, do you? Finding that she was still dishonest, and even got worse, pinching his legs with two legs, Kurosawa looked at her. In fact, if a girl still wants to mess with you when the boy warns the girl not to move or she will bear the consequences, then her attitude is already obvious. She just wants to mess with you, make you angry, and let her see the consequences. There are cameras and maids in the apartment. What can you do to me? Sifenjayuan really doesn't believe in the future, but he only holds a glimmer of hope deep in his heart. What if? Tokyo's Most Affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 519. At 10:30 p.m., the part-time job ended. Leaving the apartment, Kurosawa Hikaru came to the ground and got into the car quickly. It was Igarashi Runa's car. Because she wanted to see Mirai as soon as possible, she drove directly. It's too early to say harsh words. Sitting in the car, Kurosawa Hikaru did not rush to leave, but felt a hot feeling all over his body, a little regretful. I have to say that the feeling of getting along with Sifenjayuan Mirai is really comfortable and exciting. The happy time is too short. In the blink of an eye, it's time. The scope of the two people's chat is very large, but it mainly revolves around them. In addition, Kurosawa Hikaru also took this opportunity to say that Miki Shiraha is the fifth girlfriend. For this matter, Sifenjayuan Mirai is not angry at all, just like her attitude at the beginning. No matter how you hang out outside, you must remember to go home. Ms. Runa knows about Miki Shiraha's affairs. She has not shown any reaction at present. She should turn a blind eye, in other words, Sister Chizuru is left. Take out your mobile phone and look at it. Kurosawa Hikaru takes out his mobile phone while thinking and reading the message. Xiaoyuki sent a lot of messages as usual, and the last one was a good night message at 9 o'clock. Last night was the last night, and she woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning. This girl didn't sleep well at all. If she didn't take a nap, it's normal to feel sleepy. In addition, Bayu also sent a good night message half an hour ago, at 10 o'clock. Her work and rest schedule is very healthy. If there is nothing special, she will not stay up late at all. In addition, Ninomiya Chizuru also sent a message. A contract worth hundreds of billions. Is it true? Seeing this message, Kurosawa Hikaru smiled, and then started the car and set off. In a villa area in Tokyo, in a luxurious villa. Ninomiya Chizuru lay on the bed, holding her phone in both hands, muttering to herself in a depressed tone. It's been 10 minutes, why is it still read but not replied, what is he doing? Today is Tuesday, Kurosawa has to give tutoring lessons to Shifunji and Mirai, at 10:30, he should be off work. I heard from Runa that he drove there and saw the message while waiting for the traffic light. Didn't he have time to reply? Could it be that his phone was broken by him again? Not really, last time, it was the first time I took the initiative to send him a message after we had a quarrel. He felt it was normal to be excited. This time the message should be fine. It has to be said that line's read function has both advantages and disadvantages. Although you can find out that the other party has seen your message, it would be very torturous if the other party does not reply. Click. Just then, the sound of a door opening suddenly rang. Ninomiya Chizuru, who was waiting for a reply with all her heart, heard the door opening sound, like a frightened rabbit, and suddenly straightened up and looked in the direction of the sound. The door handle of the room was shaking, and someone was trying to open the door outside. However, the person outside could not open it. When she lived alone, she would subconsciously lock the doors and windows. After moving to this villa, because the house was too big and she lived alone, she felt insecure, so she even closed the door of the bedroom. Anyway, each bedroom is equipped with a separate bathroom and a water dispenser. Unless she wants to have a midnight snack, she doesn't need to go out or go downstairs after taking a shower. Click, click. The next moment, the person outside the door was no longer trying to open the door secretly, but trying to open it with force. Is there a thief? Ninomiya Chizuru could feel the attitude of wanting to open the door through the door. She shuddered and became nervous immediately. Sister Chizuru, why did you lock the door of the room? But before she could get more scared, a helpless voice sounded outside the door. Kurosawa. Hearing the familiar voice outside the door, Ninomiya Chizuru was stunned for a moment, and then it was as if she had found her backbone. The fear in her heart was instantly dispelled, and she couldn't help shouting to confirm. It's me. Kurosawa Hikari, standing outside the door, was a little helpless. He had read it but didn't reply, so he just told her the good news in person, met her, and gave her a surprise. He rushed here just after get off work. Using the remote control key of the garage, he drove into the garage and took the elevator upstairs. Obviously everything went smoothly, but he lost at the last step. Sister Chizuru was in the room and actually locked the door. This was something he didn't expect. Dong dong dong. As soon as the voice fell, Kurosawa Hikari heard a burst of hurried footsteps. Then, the door was opened, and bright lights illuminated the dim corridor. Ninomiya Chizuru stood inside the door. She was wearing a silky and soft cherry blossom lace suspender nightgown with gorgeous lace, which looked very sweet. There was an anxious look on that cold, mature, and beautiful face. Sister Chizuru. When Kurosawa Hikaru saw her, he put aside the frustration of the failed plan and said gently. You didn't even send a message first. I was almost scared to death just now. When Ninomiya Chizuru heard him calling her sister, her heart trembled, and then she felt happy and annoyed, and couldn't help but hit his chest with her fist. She was really scared to death just now. It was almost 11 o'clock in the evening, in the middle of the night, and it was obviously a person's home, but another person appeared without any warning. "I just wanted to give you a surprise, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you." Kurosawa let her punch her a few times, then gently grabbed her wrist. After explaining, he apologized decisively, took a step forward and put his hands around her waist. Her wrist was so small that it looked like it would break if she broke it in her hand. Her skin was cold, probably from being in an air-conditioned room. "Don't do this next time." Seeing him saying sorry and looking a little guilty, Ninomiya Chizuru immediately lost her temper and whispered, "99% of girls in the world are not very courageous, especially after falling in love." Good. Kurosawa Hikaru didn't want to scare her at all, but was stopped by the door. He subconsciously tried to open the door. Seeing her like this, he naturally agreed. Surprises can easily turn into shocks if not done right. "Sister Kinhee, the 100 billion contract is true." In order to divert her attention, Kurosawa Hikaru held her with one hand and said it himself. For Sister Kinhee, this $100 billion contract means more than just making money for the firm, it also means one thing. Her investment was successful, and she was able to negotiate with her parents and get out of the bank, a quagmire she had resisted since she was a child. "Your surprise is that you suddenly came to me and told me this." Ninomiya Chizuru was unable to break away from his wrist, so she rolled her eyes at him. Of course she knew it was true. Runa would not lie to her. She just wanted to use this reason to send a message to Kurosawa. Because Kurosawa came to the villa to sleep one night last week and didn't know what he was busy with. He didn't come to see her for several days. "I came here specifically to see you and also want to tell you that I miss you." Seeing that she was not very surprised by this, Kurosawa Hikaru had been in love for a long time, so he could naturally guess her thoughts. Oh. When Ninomiya Chizuru heard these words, she felt sweet in her heart, her face felt a little hot, and she blushed. "Sister Kinhee, you look great in this nightgown." Seeing her shy and delicate expression, Kurosawa Hikaru felt amazed and moved closer to hug her again. "I have to say that although Sister Kinhee is very cold on weekdays, when she is alone with her, she is really innocent, young, shy, charming, and full of lust. Let me go." Hugging each other face to face, the softness pressed against his chest unconsciously. Ninomiya Chizuru felt that his eyes were looking at places he shouldn't have looked at. She was so thin-skinned that she felt extremely embarrassed. "Don't let go." How could Kurosawa Hikaru let her go? "Just kidding, Sister Kinhee hasn't seen her for a few days, so why not him? What's more, it's only natural for him to hug his girlfriend. What's the point of standing at the door?" Ninomiya Chizuru's voice was very small, as thin as a mosquito's moan, and she was feebly resisting and struggling. "Then go in and talk." Hearing this, Kurosawa Hikaru couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Although there was no one else in this villa except them, she was right, standing at the door was nothing. Even so, he agreed to go in and say it, but he did not let go. Instead, he picked her up with his arms on one side and walked into the room. When he walked into Ninomiya Chizuru's bedroom, he hooked the door and closed it. "What do you want to do?" Ninomiya Chizuru was carried to the bed like a princess, and she immediately panicked. "I want to hold my wife to sleep." Kurosawa Hikaru saw her helpless look and didn't hide it. After being flirted with by the future for so long tonight, he was already very angry. "Now that I see Sister Kinhee, it's a little separation rather than a wedding, how can I bear it?" Boom. Soon, Kurosawa Hikaru walked to the bed and threw her onto the soft bed. "You." Ninomiya Chizuru didn't expect him to be so domineering and direct, and she was immediately shy and didn't know what to say. Kurosawa Hikaru watched her lying on the bed, her lovely appearance, and his heartstrings trembled. Her figure is curved forward and backward, and against the backdrop of her nightgown, she looks even more hot and sexy. Under the lace nightgown, those beautiful legs were plump and white, slender and straight. A pair of bare feet, the toes are round and full, light and agile, each nail is very clean, revealing a unique female pink, like 10 crystal clear grapes, beautiful like a work of art, very ornamental. Tokyo's most affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 520. The morning sunlight shines into the bedroom through the window. The most important thing about a good room type is lighting, which can also be understood as orientation. The feeling of being able to see the sun as soon as you wake up will make you energetic. Kurosawa Hikaru woke up first, looked at the bright and spacious room, and then looked down at the woman in his arms. Sister Kinhee hugged his arm sideways, still in sleep. Maybe it's because her cold and mature beautiful eyes are tightly closed, and her sleeping face looks sweet. This is the life I have been pursuing since I was a child. After admiring her sleeping face for a while, Kurosawa Hikaru raised his head and looked around the room illuminated by the sun, and couldn't help but feel emotional. He used to be so crazy about involution and was admitted to Tokyo University, not because he liked Tokyo University, but because he had a goal. He wants to buy a good house in Tokyo, drive a good car, and marry a beautiful and virtuous neon woman as his wife. Unexpectedly, before he graduated from college, his dream had already been realized, which made him feel astonished. After all, he spent countless days and nights, and exhausted countless brain cells, before he was admitted to Tokyo University, but in the end, he failed to show his due effect. However, he does not regret that he spent so much effort to get into Tokyo University. Because he knew one thing: if he had not been admitted to Dongda University, but had taken another life path, everything might have been completely different now. Ring ring ring. At this moment, a pleasant alarm bell rang. This voice came from Ninomiya Chizuru's cell phone. Sister Chizuru, it's time to get up and go to work. Kurosawa Hikaru glanced at the time on the wall clock, then gently reached out and patted the woman in his arms, calling in a low voice. Neon banks are usually open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. However, the business hours are different from the working hours. As an employee, you usually arrive at the bank 1 hour in advance to prepare, and you still need to work after the business closes. The specific off-duty time depends on the business. He originally wanted to ask Sister Kinhee to take leave, because when Apple paid the money, a huge sum of money would be added to the firm's account books. As one of the partners of the firm, Sister Kinhee, who holds 30% of the shares, will become a billionaire. With so much money, why should I be a worker? However, Chizuru Ninomiya has a strong sense of responsibility and works seriously. She does not want to take leave suddenly, pile up work and leave a mess for others. She must handle the last work until she resigns. What time is it? Chizuru Ninomiya, who was sleeping sideways in his arms, made a sleepy sound. 7:30. When Ninomiya Chizuru heard this time, her head went into his arms. You didn't go to bed until 2 o'clock last night. Are you very sleepy? Why not ask for leave? Kurosawa Hikaru heard her lazy voice and wanted her to sleep a little longer. No. But I want to hold you for a little longer. Ninomiya Chizuru shook her head slightly. Can you make it? Kurosawa Hikaru noticed that she wanted to go to work and sleep at the same time, and asked curiously. Unlike boys, it is actually quite troublesome for girls to go to work. Neon girls regard makeup as the most basic etiquette. Even if I am pressed for time, I will at least put on a layer of foundation to cover my blemishes. We can catch up because it's very close. Ninomiya Chizuru nodded. The location of this villa is very good, not far from the bank. After dawdling for a while, as the time came to 7:35, Ninomiya Chizuru got up. She was wearing a messy nightgown, comfortable clothes that were always looser. After walking into the bathroom to wash up, she quickly walked out, took a set of clothes, and walked in again. In less than 7 minutes, she had a completely new look and was wearing work clothes. As she got ready, Kurosawa Hikaru also stood up. "Kurosawa, you didn't sleep much last night, so go back and sleep for a while." Ninomiya Chizuru was about to go out and said when she saw him getting up. In response, Kurosawa Hikaru said nothing and just pointed to his lips. "We don't have time. If we can't catch up, let's talk about it next time." When Ninomiya Chizuru saw his action, she immediately realized his intention, but she didn't follow it and walked straight out the door. Unlike at night, she is more rational and shy during the day and cannot do such actions. "You said you could catch up." Kurosawa Hikaru did not give up and followed her footsteps. The intimate relationship between lovers lies in interaction, which requires more maintenance than friends. "Why don't you put on a shirt? What if you catch a cold?" Ninomiya Chizuru walked down the stairs and blushed immediately when she saw him following him. Although she had fantasized about getting married and living together with Kurosawa more than once, when Kurosawa was going to work, she went up to him and asked for a kiss goodbye. But being asked to kiss her goodbye in turn made her feel ashamed for some reason. "My body is very healthy and I don't get sick easily." Kurosawa Hikaru wasn't worried about this at all. "Just kidding, even if he is not proficient in wild survival, he is not that easy to get sick." While talking, they quickly arrived at the elevator entrance on the first floor from the second floor. Ninomiya Chizuru put on a pair of flat shoes, which are shoes for driving. When she's in the bank parking lot, she puts on high heels in the car and gets into her best working condition. "I really lost to you." After changing her shoes, Ninomiya Chizuru was just about to walk into the elevator when she found him following closely behind her, with an attitude of not giving up until she kissed me. She let out an annoyed sound and could only turn around and stand on tiptoe. "Kiss him on your toes. Bye-bye." Although it was an instant kiss, Kurosawa Hikaru was satisfied. "Bye-bye." When Ninomiya Chizuru saw his N11 smile, the fatigue caused by lack of sleep was washed away a lot. This kiss seems to have some magic power, which can invigorate people and bring them a good mood for the day. After sending her out, Kurosawa went back to the room to get dressed and wash up. Maybe he went to bed after 2 o'clock, but he was already awake and not very sleepy. After washing his face and brushing his teeth, he sent good morning greetings to Yuki-chan, and then drove out in Runa Igarashi's car. It's not that he doesn't want to drive the Maybach, it's just that he drove the car over last night and wanted to send it back after all. You know, there is a big difference between having a car and not having a car. However, instead of going to the office, he went to Igarashi's house. After all, Ms. Runa gave him the key so that he would not appear near the office frequently to avoid being noticed. If you have a good daily routine and don't stay up late partying, you will have plenty of time to do a lot of things when you wake up early in the morning. At Shinjuku Station, Hikaru Kurosawa was standing at the door waiting with a shoulder bag on his back. Neon's Shinjuku Station is ranked number 1 in Neon by daily users and is also the railway station with the highest number of users in the world. Not long after, he saw a person appear among the endless crowd at the station. It was a white-haired girl with a slender figure. She was wearing a snow-white dress and holding a large satchel. She is so beautiful, like an elf from a fairy tale, with a unique temperament. Even at Shinjuku Station where everyone was busy running around, her appearance attracted the attention of countless people, turning their heads and following her eyes. Mickey Bio shuttled among the crowd, running as fast as he could before he came to Kurosawa Hikaru. "Senior, I'm sorry to keep you waiting." Mickey Bio felt very guilty and apologized with his hands clasped together. It doesn't matter how long I wait for you, and the agreed time is 9 o'clock, and you are not late. And don't run like this next time. If you fall, we won't go to the skating rink later, but to the hospital. How could Kurosawa care? He waved his hand and warned. He could understand being in a hurry, but it was not good to rush just to prevent him from waiting. You must know that Bayu's body is different from other people's. It has been injured. It is best to pay more attention to avoid the possibility of injury. I don't fall that easily, I'm sorry, I know I was wrong. Miki Shiraba originally wanted to explain that he had been practicing figure skating since he was a child and had a strong sense of balance and a very flexible body. However, facing his gaze, he could only lower his head and admit his mistake. Actually, it's okay for you to run, but don't worry, I'm willing to wait for you. Kurosawa Hikaru saw her nodding obediently, reached out and touched her head as an encouragement, and said warmly, I really shouldn't have run like that, mainly because I wanted to see you earlier. Miki Bayu felt his gentle action, felt a little happy in his heart, and explained. In fact, she also knew not to run around in such a crowded place, as accidents could easily happen. It's just that the senior is too busy and it's hard to get a chance to meet, even if it's a little early. Have you had your breakfast? Seeing her sensible look, Kurosawa felt a little guilty and asked. Last time at Miki's house, if he played late and then went home, it was actually a normal date. But when he spent the night at Miki's house, he put Bayu to sleep because he wanted to meet Sister Kinhee and hurried to leave before dawn. What's more, because there were a lot of things during this period, he had to take care of his work before returning to his hometown, he was not able to fully accompany Bayu. After going to bed with a girl, not to mention staying with her all day long, at least after waking up, you should comfort her with gentle words, have breakfast together, and then separate after a good goodbye, right? Didn't eat? Miki Bayu heard this question, looked at his face seriously, and said after thinking. In fact, she had eaten it. After all, she went to bed early and woke up early. I do stretching exercises, warm up, jogging at home every day to keep my body in good health, and then I go home to take a shower and have breakfast. Lying is not a good habit, come on, come with me to have breakfast and then go to the skating rink later. Seeing the way she carefully examined the questions before answering, Kurosawa shook his head in amusement and stretched out his hand to her. Aha! When Miki Bayu saw his outstretched hand, he felt very excited and handed it over. Senior, your hands are so big. Being led away by him, Miki Bayu couldn't help but sigh. Your hands are too small. Kurosawa Hikaru felt the small, delicate, boneless, smooth, and cool jade hand in his hand and said softly. While talking, they walked towards the skating rink in Wiwan. However, they did not go directly to the skating rink, but found a restaurant to sit down and have breakfast. Senior, are you done? Miki Bayu had already eaten and didn't order anything. He just asked the waiter for a glass of hot water. I'm not really busy anymore, but I've solved a lot of work, but I'm just not that busy anymore. Kurosawa Hikaru shook his head. Even if work is put aside, it is impossible for him to be completely idle, who allows him to have 5 girlfriends. Just having 5 girlfriends all divided up his time, and each of them didn't get much. For example, in the future of Sci-fi, before she went to college, the afternoon to evening hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays were fixed times, Sundays were not guaranteed, but if possible, it would naturally be better to go there. The future of Sci-fi can theoretically be occupied by one person for 3 days, and 4 girlfriends. In addition, in order to allow his 5 girlfriends to live a prosperous life where they can buy whatever they want without worrying about food and clothing, he also has to take care of work and find ways to make money. Do you have time on September 23 and 24th? After Miki Bayu learned of this situation, he hesitated and asked. What happened in the past 2 days as you mentioned? Kurosawa Hikaru did not answer immediately, but asked first. Today is September 7th, which is more than 2 weeks away from the time she mentioned, which is quite far away. Didn't you ask me to find a pair skating competition before? There will be a competition in those 2 days. Miki Bayu felt extremely guilty when talking about this matter. She knew very well that she and her senior had not even started learning pairs skating yet, and they wanted to participate in the competition. They were just trying to make up the numbers, and there was a high possibility of being eliminated in the first round. However, she really wanted to stay with her senior for a while, so she could only use this legitimate reason. Because if you want to participate in the competition, then you have to seize the time to train. In this case, the senior will spend as much time as possible with her. She has no expectations for results, even though she and her senior have a good foundation in skating. The competition she chose is in the Kanto region. Even if it is not a national level competition, it is not far behind. I have time. Knowing it was a competition, Kurosawa agreed without hesitation. Subconsciously, he called the system in his heart and opened the task list. Dating mission, dream journey with Miki Bayu. Mission goal, meet on the ice, dance with her on the ice rink, and the dance synchronization rate reaches 90%, make her feel like the happiest person in the world. Task duration, 1 month. Mission funds, entry-level skating, entry-level ballet, experience card. Mission rewards, entry-level skating, entry-level ballet, permanent. Every dating task represents a girl's ideal. Even though this mission didn't say that he was going to participate in a competition, he knew that Bayu wanted to skate pairs with him. Among several mission goals, making her feel like the happiest person in the world has been achieved. Not long after, they finished their breakfast and headed to the Wiwan skating rink. Early in the morning, Yamamoto Daiki came to the Wiwan skating rink, found a shaded place to sit down, and waited. I must talk to player Miki today, ask her for an autograph, and ask her if she has any plans to come back. Although he had to wait for the door to open, Yamamoto Daiki was not in a hurry, but cheered himself up. Since last week, he has discovered something. Player Miki is back and is active at the Wiwan skating rink. He was looking forward to the stars and the moon, but he finally got it. This thing really made him happy. It was not in vain that he visited various skating rinks in Tokyo after their chance encounter that day. In order to find Miki, during this period of time, even his schedule became normal and he no longer stayed up late. Except for the necessary time with his girlfriend, he is either at the skating rink or on his way to the next rink. Having said that, even after finding player Miki, he still didn't dare to go up and talk to him. Because in his eyes, Miki is not only beautiful, but also a figure skating genius. She is also the figure skating princess of Hokkaido, comparable to the bright moon in the sky. Perhaps it was because he had not been able to successfully strike up a conversation, but he also confirmed one thing. Miki comes to the Wiwan skating rink to practice every day. Either if he has something to do in the afternoon, he will leave for half a day, or if he has nothing to do, he will leave after the skating rink is closed. However, as a fan, he was very measured and restrained himself from following her or finding out her address. Counting the time, it should be coming soon. Yamamoto Daiki took out his mobile phone and took a look. He found that it was 9:22, put it back in his pocket, and started looking around. In fact, there is still a lot of time before the official opening of the Wiwan skating rink at 10 a.m. Having said that, Miki Shiraba was once a professional skater. Although he is not well known in Tokyo, he is still famous in the skating community. Maybe he has retired for a few years and his reputation has gradually faded away, but it is impossible to say that he has been completely forgotten. For example, the staff at Wiwan skating rink are practitioners in the skating field, so they naturally know. Because of this, she could enter the venue in advance after applying for membership, unlike him, an amateur, who had to wait patiently for the opening of the venue. Just as he was counting the time and looking around, he suddenly saw a figure coming. Seeing that beautiful silhouette, Yamamoto Daiki felt happy. But at the next moment, his expression froze, and he just felt unbelievable. What's going on? Why are Miki and Kurosawa Hikaru holding hands? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Tokyo's Most Affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 522. Close your eyes, open your eyes. After repeating it several times, Yamamoto Daiki confirmed one thing: he was not dazzled. Kurosawa Hikaru and Miki Shiraba are really together, and they even hold hands and walk together. The atmosphere seems very ambiguous, not like friends, but more like lovers. In fact, even if Miki fell in love, he wouldn't find it strange at all. There is no such thing as puppy love in Neon. It is not strange for elementary school students to fall in love, let alone college students. But the situation in front of him was so abnormal that it went beyond Yamamoto Daiki's understanding, leaving him stunned. Is Kurosawa trying to be in two different places? Yamamoto Daiki came up with an idea. Yesterday, Ichinose told everyone in the group chat that he went to Kurosawa's hometown and played in Izu for a few days and just came back. This incident aroused everyone's curiosity, and even attracted the envy of the girls, who thought it was a fairy love. This was obviously the case, but the next day he saw Kurosawa walking hand in hand with a beautiful woman. Wasn't this cheating? Kurosawa Hikaru, who caught his attention and was heading to the skating rink with Miki Shiraba, naturally noticed the existence of Yamamoto Daiki. So early. Kurosawa Hikaru looked at Yamamoto Daiki with a somewhat surprised look at his appearance. He had discovered a long time ago that Yamamoto Daiki admired Miki Baiu. In order to find Miki Baiha, this guy even spent time going to various skating rinks in Tokyo every day. Knowing this, Kurosawa Hikaru decided to come to Gain skating rink after thinking about it. Even if he specially takes Miki Baiu to other skating rinks, there is still a possibility of being discovered. He could hide for a while, but he couldn't hide forever. Sooner or later, he would accompany Miki Baiu on the ice rink to participate in the pairs skating competition. Instead of waiting until the game to be discovered and causing trouble, it would be better to resolve the matter earlier. After thinking about it, he took Miki Baiu and walked over. Why did Kurosawa come here? Shouldn't his first reaction when he saw me be that he felt guilty and turned around and ran away? At the same time, Yamamoto Daiki was stunned when he saw the two of them changed their route and walked straight over. Under normal circumstances, if a boy is seen by a girl's friend with another girl, shouldn't he feel guilty? Why are you not afraid at all? This is not reasonable at all. Yamamoto, good morning, why are you here? Kurosawa Hikaru quickly walked up to him, said hello, and asked curiously. I want to ask you this question more. When Yamamoto Daiki saw that they were still holding hands, he suddenly became angry and stood up suddenly and said rudely. If he hadn't known Hikaru Kurosawa before, seeing Miki find such a handsome boyfriend, he would definitely be blessing them. But the problem is that he knows Kurosawa Hikaru, and he knows that Kurosawa Hikaru has a girlfriend. What is this? Hikaru Kurosawa actually cheated on Miki's feelings. His crime is unforgivable. I came to the skating rink, of course, to skate. Baiu, this is Yamamoto Daiki, a native of Hokkaido, and a fan of yours. He was the one who told me before that you were a figure skating genius. Kurosawa Hikaru introduced him as a matter of course, then turned around and introduced. Hello. Miki Baiu was very nervous. In fact, after she discovered Yamamoto Daiki just now, she wanted to let go. However, her palm was too small and she was caught by Kurosawa Hikari, unable to break away at all. She knew that Yamamoto Daiki was not only a friend of her senior, but also a friend of Misachinos. He caught her holding hands with her senior. Wouldn't this matter reach Misachinos' ears? Hello. Seeing her nervous reaction, Yamamoto Daiki thought she was frightened by him, so he immediately lowered his voice and restrained his attitude. You and I are here to practice skating, what about you? As his attitude softened, Kurosawa Hikaru asked again. I'm here to skate too. Yamamoto Daiki choked when he heard this and his eyes dodged a little. Why is he here? Of course he is here to watch Mickey skate. For him, just watching Mickey skate off the court is more comfortable than watching a good movie. However, he dared to talk about it openly in the group chat, and he was not afraid in front of his girlfriend, but in front of his idol, he was a little embarrassed and couldn't say it out of embarrassment. I came to see you skate. It always feels bad to say this. After all, Mickey has not officially returned yet, and is only practicing freely as an individual. Are you waiting here for the door to open? Let's go in together. Compared to the nervous Kurosawa Hikaru, he invited. As long as you are not embarrassed, others will be embarrassed. He knew this truth very well, and it was actually better to have an upright and confident attitude than to feel guilty after being discovered by Yamamoto Daiki. Of course, the fundamental reason why he dared to do this was that he had already confessed to Xiaoyuki. Xiaoyuki knew that he had a fifth girlfriend, Miki Baiha. Good. Yamamoto Daiki saw that he could still laugh, but felt that he was confused and couldn't figure out the situation, so he nodded. Senior, I'm going to change my clothes. Entering the skating rink, because Miki Baiha was wearing a long dress, which was not suitable for skating, and she had to go to the locker room, so we were separated for the time being. As for Kurosawa Hikaru, he was not professional enough to change clothes. He just found a bench to sit down in the corridor outside the ice rink. Kurosawa, what is your relationship with Miki? Yamamoto Daiki followed him closely, and finally waited until the idol left, and couldn't help asking. She is my junior. Kurosawa Hikaru thought about it, but still didn't dare to say directly that Bayu was his girlfriend. I was asking why you were holding hands just now. Yamamoto Daiki saw that he didn't answer directly, so he simply made it clear. So that's what you're asking, she and I are practicing pair skating. Pair skating? What does this have to do with you holding hands? Do you remember that we came to the skating rink before and ran into her by chance? Kurosawa Hikaru didn't answer this question directly, but asked back. Of course I remember. Yamamoto Daiki nodded firmly. Just kidding, how could he forget the encounter that day? For him, he felt that he would never forget that encounter in his life. Don't you want to know if she will make a comeback? She and I are schoolmates. When we had time to contact each other, I asked you this question. What's the result? She said that her injury was very serious. It's okay for her to play around on weekdays, but if she wants to be a professional player, even if she makes a comeback by force, her performance will be very poor. Is her injury so serious? Yamamoto Daiki felt a little heavy when he heard this answer. He could roughly guess that Miki's injury was very serious, otherwise she would not have retired due to injury. However, every time he mentioned the injury, he still felt pity and regret. It's okay as a hobby, but if she wants to be a professional player, she can't bear the high-load training. Kurosawa Hikaru was telling the truth, but just said it in a different way. In fact, Bayu's body is indeed difficult to withstand the training of single skating. Because in single skating, the most important thing is jumping, and jumping practice puts a lot of load on the knees. In addition, jumping in single skating is also accompanied by great risks. Every outstanding single figure skater is prone to injuries, but Bayu's injury is more serious, which may be related to her small and more fragile frame. Then what? Yamamoto Daiki practiced figure skating when he was a child, and he was aware of these things, and asked again. She and I are schoolmates. She saw me skating that day and found that my skills were very good. I took the initiative to contact her and talked a lot. She probably thought I wanted her to come back, so she asked me to participate in the pair skating competition with her. If single skating is not possible, can pair skating be done? Pair skating emphasizes coordination and consistency, and the requirements for jumping are not so high. If she comes back as a pair skater, she may be able to achieve results. Is this the reason why you are holding hands? You want to be a partner of Miki and become a professional figure skater with her. Hearing this, Yamamoto Daiki still had some doubts about their holding hands, but he also understood it. In the pair skating combination, physical contact like holding hands is nothing at all. After all, when skating in pairs, all kinds of body movements emerge in an endless stream. Although many people in pair skating become lovers during the practice day and night, this is not absolute. I don't want to be a professional figure skater, but she wants to stand on the competition stage again and hopes that I can help her. Kurosawa Hikaru shook his head slightly and explained. He really didn't want to be a professional figure skater, he just wanted to accompany Miki Shiraha to the competition again and help her regain her confidence. Kurosawa, although your figure skating skills are better than mine, there is still a gap compared to Miki, and it's not that easy to be a pair skater. Many pairs have been practicing together since childhood. Yamamoto Daiki was not optimistic about the decision of pair skating. It's not that he underestimated Kurosawa, if it was Kyoto, Kurosawa's level would be invincible. We have to give it a try. The competition is not that easy. If you want to achieve results, I'm afraid, forget it. Does Ichino's know that you practice pair skating with Miki? Yamamoto Daiki felt that he had said too much, so he simply changed the subject. Although pair skating is not as intimate as pair dancing, it is also very important. He could imagine what kind of reaction Ichino's would have when she saw her favorite brother Guang having intimate physical contact with other girls. When he talked to a girl, even if he smiled, his girlfriend would be jealous and had to be coaxed to calm down. If Tong saw him holding hands and hugging a girl, she would probably break up on the spot. In fact, he was pretending to care about Ichino's feelings. In fact, he didn't want Miki to have too much intimate contact with Kurosawa Guang, who had a girlfriend. From a normal perspective, when a man and a woman skate together, it is definitely the man who takes advantage. I know. Finally, when he asked this question, Kurosawa Guang nodded. Really? This answer was unexpected by Yamamoto Daiki. Really? Why would I lie to you? Kurosawa Hikaru nodded slightly, his attitude was very firm. This. Yamamoto Daiki was stunned by his firm attitude. No wonder this guy walked hand in hand with Miki. Seeing him so confident and upright, it turned out that he had nothing to fear. Isn't this Ichino's afraid that her brother Guang will be snatched away? Although she is a model and looks very beautiful, Miki is so beautiful, she is not worse than her. Immediately, Yamamoto Daiki couldn't help but complain in his heart, very depressed. Although Ichino's Yuki's appearance is very outstanding, she is the well-deserved first beauty in the four hot girls, even in Tokyo, she is also a top beauty. But in his opinion, Miki is the most beautiful woman in the world, no one else. Thinking like this, he has nothing to say. After all, her girlfriend has no objection, how can he make an opinion? Is it done? Seeing his speechless look, Kurosawa Guang smiled, and then bent down to open his bag to change his skates. He and Miki Shiraha must go to participate in the competition. After all, he went to participate as Kurosawa Guang, and Yuki's friends might know. That's why he felt that it was necessary to deal with this matter in advance. Active confession and passive exposure, these two situations, cause completely different chain reactions. You also bought skates. Yamamoto Daiki saw him take out a pair of pure black skates, and his eyes were immediately attracted. Because this pair of skates is expensive at first glance, it may not be a big deal for laymen, but for people who like skating, this pair of skates is really cool. If you want to do your work well, you must first sharpen your tools. What do you mean? Yamamoto Daiki didn't understand. After all, he was not a good student and his grades were very poor. If you want to do something well, preparation is very important. Kurosawa Hikaru explained while changing his equipment. This principle applies to any situation, including dating. After a while, he put on his skates and stood up. Yamamoto, aren't you going to skate? Before leaving, Kurosawa Hikaru saw him still sitting in his original position and asked. I skated yesterday, and I'm taking a rest today, just looking around. Yamamoto Daiki was a little moved when he heard this, but after thinking about it, he shook his head and didn't even think about going on stage. The fundamental reason for him to come to the skating rink was to see his idol. Although it was cool to think about skating with Miki, he thought it would be better not to bother her. The most important thing was that he knew his skills were just like that, and skating in front of his idol would make him feel embarrassed. Then let's go together next time. Kurosawa Hikaru didn't care whether he was making excuses or not, he just smiled and then went to the ice rink. Kurosawa. Seeing that he was about to leave, Yamamoto Daiki suddenly called him. What's wrong? The ice blades of the skates were wrapped in a hard plastic protective cover, and Kurosawa Hikaru walked a little slowly, so he turned around when he heard the words. Can you help me get an autograph from Miki? Yamamoto Daiki was a little embarrassed to make this request. I'll ask her later, if she's willing. Then thank you. It's a piece of cake. After that, Kurosawa Hikaru went to the ice rink. As for Yamamoto Daiki, seeing him leave, he took out his phone and opened the group chat of the hot girls group. After hesitating for a while, he still didn't send a message, but stood up and left. However, he didn't leave the Gain skating rink, but went to find a suitable audience seat. One update today, not in good condition. Tokyo's most affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 523. Chapter 507 Synchronization rate 99%. Outside the ice rink, Kurosawa Hikaru soon waited for Miki Shiraba. Like last time, Miki Baiha changed into skating clothes that facilitated movements and showed off her limbs, wearing slippers and a yoga mat. Before officially skating, you need to warm up. Especially she, because she was injured, must not slack off in this aspect. However, this time she was not as excited as usual, but worried. Senior, your friend should know Misachi knows, right? Is there any problem? What problem are you referring to? It's about whether this matter will cause trouble to Misachi knows. When Miki Bayu talked about this, he felt very guilty, as if his affair had been discovered. Although she knew that the senior had 5 girlfriends, she was the 5th after all. Misachi knows that her senior is very troublesome, so this is not a problem. The key is that today's matter is a little special. This is like her friend knowing that the senior is her boyfriend, but then she sees the senior with other girls. Probably not. After thinking about this concern, Kurosawa Hikaru shook his head. Real. Real. Kurosawa nodded slightly, and then explained to her. There had been similar situations before. It was Akazuki Aoi who seemed to have bumped into him and Ninomiya Chizuru, and asked insinuatingly whether Xiaoyuki had a sister. At that time, Xiaoyuki was keenly aware that something was wrong and interfered in the matter, so that the matter was settled. When the person involved knows and deliberately conceals it, even if the friend is suspicious, as long as the person is not caught in bed, he can get over it. Having settled the matter, the two of them entered the ice rink after some warm-up. Pairs skating. On the other side, Yamamoto Daiki stood at the ice rink in the distance, his face calm, but deep down he was worried. When he learned about the pair skating team of Kurosawa Hikaru and Miki, he was actually quite restless and had a sense of anticipation. Maybe it's because in his eyes, Miki is the most beautiful goddess in the world, and he also knows that Kurosawa Hikaru is handsome. In terms of appearance alone, this pair is already a fairy combination of handsome men and beautiful women. When they are combined together, what kind of sparks will be created is really curious. However, he was looking forward to it, but he was not very optimistic about it. Instead, he was a little worried. It is undeniable that pairs skating does not have that high requirements for jumping, and the load on the knees is indeed lower than that of single skating. However, the practice cost of pairs skating is higher than that of single skating. It requires a partner, and the longer the partner works together, the better. Figure skating is divided into pairs and singles. Single figure skating mainly depends on personal ability and expression. It is gorgeous and dreamy, elegant, and natural. It can fully display individual talents and is always very interesting. However, pairs figure skating is the most exciting part of figure skating. Pairs figure skating requires the tacit cooperation of two athletes. Their rhythm, movements, and expressions all attract the attention of the audience. The most terrifying thing is that during performances, female athletes can be said to have entrusted their lives to their partners. Because rotations, lifts and other movements often occur in competitions, and these movements are very difficult and extremely dangerous, so you may not be able to compete on the field without a high degree of tacit understanding. Dreamy and delicate, romantic and sexy, indescribably beautiful, dangerous and charming, this is pairs figure skating. In other words, it does not mean that two people can do it if they want to pair skate together. They must practice for a long time. Coming. After waiting for a long time, Yamamoto Daiki finally saw the entrance to the ice rink opposite, and the two of them walked out hand in hand. If this pair really wants to participate in the competition, they will amaze the audience as soon as they appear on the stage. Seeing their appearance, Yamamoto Daiki couldn't help but marvel. Because those two figures were too conspicuous. The Mickey player with white hair and blue eyes, wearing gorgeous clothes like Costin, has breathtakingly beautiful features, like an elf coming out of a fairy tale. Kurosawa Hikaru, who has black hair and black eyes and is wearing a shirt and casual trousers, has handsome features, sharp outlines, and an elegant temperament, like a gentle nobleman. As an ice fan, he pays close attention to every Winter Olympics and occasionally goes to watch some events in the field. Although he has watched many games and seen many magical combinations, at this moment, he can be sure that Miki and Kurosawa Hikaru are the most beautiful combination. An expert will know if there is one as soon as he takes action. The two people skated freely on the spacious ice surface, their movements light and elegant. Miki's spin is so beautiful. When Daiki Yamamoto saw Miki's solo spin, he was immediately amazed and thought it was a feast for the eyes. Maybe it's the blessing of childhood filters, or maybe it's the extra points for good looks. He thinks Miki's figure skating is the most beautiful figure skating in the world. At the same time, Kurosawa Hikaru was watching Miki Shireu's spin. His dynamic vision was so strong that even if Baiyu rotated very fast, he could still see clearly. "Senior, do you want me to demonstrate again?" Soon, Miki Baiyu finished turning and stood up perfectly. "Let's do it again. You just go skating. Don't worry about me. I'll try to see if I can keep up with your moves." Kurosawa nodded. The mission goal of this date is dance with her on the ice rink, and the dance movement synchronization rate reaches 90%. In pair skating, single joint rotation is very important, but unlike single skating, it requires the synchronization rate of two people. Because of the same evaluation criteria, he wants to try to see if he can complete the task directly and get the reward. As long as he completes the task and has proficient skating and proficient ballet, it will be much easier to practice pair skating with Miki Shiraiha. Okay. Knowing that his skating foundation is very strong, Miki Shiraha nodded slightly, and then demonstrated again. Her feet slid, like a swallow circling. At the same time, Kurosawa Hikari followed her movements, but not following behind, but drawing a larger arc. When Miki Shiraha found the feeling, he braked and stopped, stretched out his arms, and began to spin on the spot. Seeing her movements, Kurosawa Hikari kept a distance of 2 meters from her, also stretched out his arms, and began to spin. In figure skating, there are many rotations, which are not as difficult as jumping. But the single joint rotation in pair skating is extremely difficult, not inferior to jumping. Because you don't rotate based on your own feelings, you also need to cooperate with your partner's movements and strive for a higher synchronization rate. However, Kurosawa Hikaru has the basics of skating and ballet, so ice rotation is not difficult for him. The only difficulty is to keep up with Miki Shiraha's movements and pursue synchronization. If you want to imitate others, the most important thing is observation, that is, whether you can see other people's movements clearly. Normally, it is difficult to see the rotation clearly, but Kurosawa Hikaru's eyesight is extraordinary, and the insight brought by perfect archery is rare in the world. While rotating, observe her movements, and then make fine adjustments. Kurosawa Hikaru's rotation gradually synchronizes with Miki Shiraha's rotation. A 90% synchronization rate is the basis of pair skating. If you can't even do this, don't play pair skating. Many pair skaters, through years of running in and practice, with the help of choreography and music rhythm, can even raise the synchronization rate to 98%. Such a synchronization rate is already difficult for the audience to tell the difference. As for the 99% synchronization rate, it is a feat as difficult as ascending to heaven. Because of the influence of different body shapes, strengths, and states, there will inevitably be slight differences in movements. And a 100% synchronization rate is absolutely impossible. Even in theory, humans cannot reach such a high level. With continuous observation, lines of text appeared in front of Kurosawa Hikaru. The mission goal: dancing with her on the ice rink, the dance movement synchronization rate reaches 90% has been achieved. The mission goal: make her feel that she is the happiest person in the world. Dream journey with Miki Shiraha, 3 mission goals have been achieved, the mission is completed, and the reward is entry-level skating and entry-level ballet, permanent. Because the host already has a skating reward, the entry-level skating is upgraded to the mastery level. Because the host already has a ballet reward, the entry-level ballet is upgraded to the mastery level. At the same time, the knowledge about skating and ballet also poured into his mind. Even more, he felt that his body was changing. Unlike the first time he received the reward, accepting new knowledge requires more mind to digest. Although the changes brought about by the upgrade of skills are great, it is more mature and unique theoretical knowledge. The mastery level represents the height that a genius can reach after a lifetime of hard work. In other words, compared with the entry level, the mastery level perception is based on the perspective of a genius and sees a wider world. With the emergence of knowledge, Kurosawa Hikaru observed Miki Bayu's movements again, and the feeling brought was completely different. Even more, he didn't need to use his brain, and his body moved instinctively. Synchronization rate 92%. Synchronization rate 95%. Synchronization rate 98%. Synchronization rate 99%. In just a blink of an eye, he imitated Miki Bayu's movements, which were almost exactly the same. At this moment, the talent brought by the mastery level has already played a role. He seemed to be born for skating and ballet. How is this possible? Their tacit understanding is too high, right? How many times have they practiced this? Seeing Kurosawa's movements change until they completely followed Miki's rotation, the two were completely in sync, and Yamamoto Daiki, who was watching the audience, was immediately shocked. He grabbed the fence of the ice rink with both hands, and his body was shaking. The synchronization rate of this rotation was too terrifying. In his opinion, in terms of rotation alone, it was not inferior to the Winter Olympics pair skating champion combination. Tokyo's Most Affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 524. Although there are many scoring items for pairs skating, the single joint spin is only one of them, but it is the highlight. Because this project pays most attention to synchronization rate. To put it bluntly, this project can let people see at a glance the tacit understanding of any pair skating combination. No, Kurosawa and Miki have been partners for only a short time. No wonder Miki invited Kurosawa to pair skate even though he knew he had a girlfriend. His talent and skills are too strong. By the way, his figure skating skills have become much better. Did he improve so quickly? Or was he hiding his strength at the time? Yamamoto Daiki was shocked. Suddenly, he remembered what Ichino said when he went out with everyone before and his boyfriend failed to show up. Ichino said that his boyfriend can play bowling, football, baseball, shooting, skiing, tennis, skating, swimming, racing, and basketball. At that time, everyone just thought it was Ichino's good face, and they smiled without criticizing her, leaving her some face. But now it seems that that is not a lie. Kurosawa is really all-powerful. You know, a talented athlete can easily learn sports in other fields by virtue of his superior physical fitness. Although it is impossible to be the best in every field, it is not difficult to be better than ordinary people. It's okay if it's not a strong point. If it's a strong point, like Kyoto and now figure skating, it's at least a national level. Is preparation very important if you want to do something well? Thinking of this, Yamamoto Daiki thought of the conversation just now. He also recalled what happened at the karaoke bar when he first met Kurosawa. At that time, Kurosawa said that it wasn't that he didn't like karaoke, but that he kept pushing back because he felt he wasn't good at singing and didn't want Ichinos to see his shortcomings. For this reason, Kurosawa has been practicing singing in private, thinking that one day he will show it to Ichinos. This guy, I'm afraid this is how he does everything, be prepared first, and then do things. That's why no matter what this guy does, he will never perform poorly. Has this guy been practicing figure skating in private after agreeing to Miki's request? As his thoughts surged, Yamamoto Daiki quickly thought of a possibility. No. No matter how hard I practice, this rate of progress is too ridiculous. I guess I hid my strength when I played with everyone before. However, he quickly put aside this speculation. Even if you are a genius, you can't progress so fast, right? This is simply unreasonable. After spinning, Miki Bio stopped, stabilized his body, and immediately slid in front of Kurosawa Hikaru. Senior, you were too awesome just now. Miki Bio's beautiful light blue eyes seemed to glow. Although she was spinning and her observation of the surroundings was not that comprehensive, she could still see clearly after a long time. She had a very strange feeling just now. Kurosawa-senpai's rotation was very synchronized with hers. This is too scary. You must know that this is the first time that the senior has conducted tacit understanding training with her. As a result, for the first time, such a high synchronization rate was achieved. If other movements can improve and adapt as quickly as they do now, maybe they can compete and win a good ranking instead of just participating in the first round. Do you think it's possible for us to win the championship now? Faced with her surprise and admiration, Kurosawa Hikaru didn't hide his clumsiness and asked with a smile. He has completely absorbed the knowledge, experience, skills, and insights of master-level skating and ballet. His current level is terrifying, at least one of the top in the world. It is not an exaggeration to say he is number one. Effort determines the lower limit, and talent determines the upper limit. If a genius works very hard, the difference between him and an ordinary person is simply a matter of heaven and earth, and there is an insurmountable gap. Although Bayu is a genius and works very hard, she is still too young and has been idle for several years, being surpassed by the geniuses of her peers. Her skills are still stuck at the age of 16, and even due to injuries, her level is not as good as it was at her peak. Just like that, it was very simple for him to cooperate and keep up with Bayu's movements. I don't know either. Although the competition we signed up for is not a world-class competition, it is also a national-level competition. Everyone's level is very high, and players from other countries may also participate. Mickey Bayu found out that his goal was to win the championship, and immediately lost his confidence, he said tactfully. To be honest, she felt that even if she practiced with her seniors for several years, she might not be able to win the championship. Because she has been injured and has shortcomings, she cannot withstand high-intensity training. It doesn't matter how strong the enemy is, the key is, do you want to win the championship? Kurosawa Hikaru asked when he saw her lack of confidence. He had discovered before that although Bayu still loved figure skating, she seemed to have no obsession with the championship. Because in this dating mission, the system profiled Bayu's thoughts. Even if she didn't win the championship, she would still feel like she was the happiest person in the world. Well, Mickey Bayu saw his serious expression and was affected by it. He fell into thinking and did not answer easily. Now, she prefers to play figure skating with her seniors. Figure skating is her favorite thing, and her senior is her favorite person. The combination of the two makes her enjoy it immensely. As for the championship, she wants to win it, but she doesn't force it because she knows how difficult it is to win. Unless the senior is willing to spend a lot of time and energy, or even become a professional player, to practice with her. However, she didn't expect that. Because the senior is already a national champion in the field of archery. Because the senior is already #1 in the world in the field of piano. Seniors' time and energy should be focused on those two areas to defend the championship and not be snatched away by others. Don't think too much, just tell me, do you want to win the championship? To be fair, Kurosawa Hikaru saw that she was seriously reviewing the question again and interrupted her. Think. Mickey Bayu was stunned for a moment, then nodded. Having won the championship before, she knows very well how gorgeous the scenery will be after winning the championship. That kind of taste, as long as you experience it once, will be unforgettable for a lifetime. As long as you want it, then we will win the championship. Kurosawa Hikaru touched her head with his hand. With his current level, if he wanted to try singles skating, he should be able to win the world championship easily, or even crush everyone and defend the title for many years. However, this is not his ambition. The reason why he plays figure skating is just because Mickey Bayu likes figure skating. At his level, it may not be that simple to win the world championship with Mickey Shiraha, but it should be no problem if it is just a national level competition. Then let's give it a try. Mickey Bayu felt his tenderness and doting, and happily agreed. Although she agreed, she didn't have any hope. Instead, she made a decision in her heart. After participating in this competition, she stopped participating in the competition and regarded it as a hobby, skating with her seniors in her free time. Because she found that the senior's character was very sincere and had a bit of perfectionism, as if he wanted to be the best no matter what he did. If you don't win the championship and have to keep competing, it will take too much time and energy from the seniors. In pairs skating, except for the single joint spin, all other movements require the cooperation of men and women together, which is also more dangerous. Just like that, after spending more than 10 minutes and spinning a few times, they were temporarily out. On the yoga mat in the ice rink, the two of them sat together looking at their mobile phones, watching videos of pairs skating by champion skaters, and learning from each other. From jumps, spins, lifts, spirals, double spins, and double choreography. There are too many moves for two people to learn together, starting in the morning and continuing until the afternoon. At noon, they did not go out to eat, but simply dealt with it directly at the ice rink. It wasn't until around 4 p.m., before it got dark and closed, that they packed up and left. Senior, your figure skating level is too high. According to the situation, we might really be able to win the championship. We left the Wiwin skating rink together and headed to the station. Mickey Shiraha's arms were very sore and tired, but his mood was extremely exciting. Unlike single skating, pairs skating requires the use of arm strength in many places, which can tire her out quite a lot. However, no matter how hard and tiring it is still worth it. Because she found that the speed of their progress was simply incredible, and they could quickly master every movement. What's more, under the guidance of her seniors, she quickly mastered various movements. Before leaving the venue just now, they successfully performed 2 pairs skating, which attracted cheers from the audience. Although there was no camera to record and she couldn't see her actual performance, based on everyone's reactions and personal feelings, she felt that they had already learned how to skate in pairs. Next, it's a matter of level. You are so awesome. You have studied all kinds of moves very thoroughly, and we have a very good understanding of each other. Kurosawa Hikaru smiled at her exclamation. It has to be said that Miki Shiraha's figure skating talent is outrageous, even though he is leading and cooperating. If there are levels of genius, this girl is definitely a super genius in the field of figure skating. It's normal to think about it. When she was not injured, she once suppressed a generation, and her peers were overwhelmed by her. In a sense, don't we have a good compatibility? Seeing that he was putting the credit on himself again, Miki Bayu did not continue to praise him, but turned his beautiful eyes and chuckled. We are lovers, so of course we have a good compatibility. It is a match made in heaven. Kurosawa Hikaru quite likes this statement. Perhaps the biggest credit for today's rapid progress is his mastery level skills, but Bayu's efforts cannot be ignored. Because he could see that Bayu had practiced alone many times before today. Okay. When Miki Bayu heard about the couple's relationship, her beautiful eyes curved and her smile turned into 2 crescent moons. Remember to have a good rest when you go back. I'll skate with you in a few days. Kurosawa Hikaru also smiled when he saw her charming smile. Good. Upon hearing this instruction, Miki Bayu nodded obediently. After a day of getting along, she already knew that the senior was busy tonight and couldn't stay with her. However, although she felt pity, she was not very sorry. Because the senior stayed with her early in the morning, until this time, she was already very satisfied. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Tokyo's Most Affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 525. Wednesday is a working day. On this day, Runa Igarashi was still busy with various tasks, but she did not work overtime at the office, but returned home in the afternoon. Because she signed a super big contract with Apple, in the short term, the focus of the zero-time agency is to fulfill the obligations under the contract. These obligations are album production, Apple Music spokesperson, publicity, and operation. Although Zero Time still has several contracts that have not been fulfilled, these contracts are endorsements and do not require too much work. They have to wait for Zero Time to make time before they can be processed. The focus of the agency is currently on Zero Time. Regarding various handovers of contracts, the agency has recruited many relevant personnel and laid a good foundation. Some more tedious and professional work is outsourced to professional teams. In addition, there is another business, which is the model Yuki Ichinos. However, Yuki Ichinos has only one recent announcement, which is to participate in the National Beauty Girl Contest and make her official debut. The development of artists should not be impatient. Although every artist pursues overnight fame, it is much better to be well prepared before debuting than to debut without any preparation. You must know that many artists in this world have become obscure after becoming famous overnight. Will this make me look too old? Igarashi Runa, who returned home early, changed into a mature and ladylike long skirt, stood in front of the full-length mirror in the room, and talked to herself in frustration. Although OL uniforms have the advantages of OL uniforms, she feels that if she wants to play her advantages, she still has to rely on her own dressing style. However, even if she claims to be a fashion expert, she is still a headache at this moment. In the past, she just wanted to satisfy her own preferences in terms of dressing. Today, she wants to satisfy Kurosawa's preferences in terms of dressing. The difference between the two is very big. Girls' aesthetics and boys' preferences are completely different. This is a gender difference. Girls are always serious about dating, and it is common to prepare in advance. Women dress to please themselves. If you want to judge whether a girl has feelings for you, just see if she will take a shower, wash her hair, or even put on makeup and dress beautifully before going on a date with you. No, I have to make a decision quickly. Worried, Igarashi Runa looked up at the wall clock beside her and took action quickly. Japanese girls will never be late for a date. Maybe she doesn't need to go out to the appointment place, because Kurosawa will come to her house directly to find her, but the moment they meet is also equivalent to going on a date. Ding dong. At 5:23 p.m., Kurosawa Hikaru came to the door of Igarashi's house and rang the doorbell. After pressing the doorbell, he looked down at his outfit while waiting. Because he and Miki Shiraha played at the skating rink for half a day, and hugged each other many times when skating in pairs, he went back home to take a shower and change clothes. In terms of dressing, he did not wear a shirt and trousers as usual, but changed into a pure white t-shirt, paired with black shorts and sneakers. Although shirt and trousers are the standard answer, they are the type that Chizuru likes the most. But in a date, the standard answer is actually the most mediocre choice, which is cliched, too old-fashioned, and too formal. After a while, he heard footsteps coming from the house, getting closer and closer, and the door was opened. Isn't the agreed time 5:30? Why did you come early? Igarashi Runa stood at the entrance, a little surprised. I want to see you earlier. Kurosawa Hikaru saw her and couldn't help looking up and down. In a date, arriving early is definitely the right answer. You are dressed cute today. Although this kind of words is very corny and cliched, Igarashi Runa still felt happy when she heard it, and her eyes lit up when she saw his outfit. Because Kurosawa today looks very casual, which is completely different from the feeling of wearing a shirt and trousers at ordinary times. If we say that Kurosawa usually gives people a sense of maturity and gentleness like a 23-25-year-old. Today, Kurosawa gives her a sense of youthfulness of 20 years old, looking a little immature, but super sunny and clean. Such an image is extremely lethal to a big sister like her who is older than her. In fact, Japanese girls have very low requirements for boys, as long as they are clean and not sloppy. Is this called cute? Shouldn't it be handsome? Kurosawa Hikaru's comment was a bit regretful. Japanese girls really have very few compliments. Either cute or super cute, a word of kawaii is everywhere. Because you look so young. Igarashi Runa was really amazed by his image today, covering her mouth and laughing, her smile was very bright. Although she had long known that she was an old cow eating young grass, but now she saw that this feeling was particularly strong. You look big. Kurosawa Hikaru was naturally happy when he found out that she was very satisfied with his outfit, and then he was also amazed when he saw her laughing so hard that her branches shook, and he replied. Because today, Miss Runa's outfit was very hot and cool, and it was simply sexy to the extreme. I saw that she was wearing a short pink camisole. The small fabric could not cover the large area of Snow White, and it also gave people a feeling of being unable to bear the weight. It was full of impact and spectacular. It's obviously a very revealing outfit, but maybe it's because of the appearance, or maybe it's just the right fit, but it doesn't feel tacky at all, but rather pure and lusty. As for her lower body, she wore a pair of high-waisted denim hot pants. She had a flat belly, a slender waist, a clean navel, and a pair of smooth, traceless white legs, which were extremely eye-catching. How is it? Do I look good in what I wear today? Igarashi Runa noticed his hot gaze, as if she was attracted by it. Her heart trembled, and then she smiled brightly. You are so beautiful, you look good in a plastic bag, come in quickly. Kurosawa nodded, stretched out his hand and pushed her towards the house. Maybe this is not his home, but Igarashi's home, but he is very adaptable and does not regard himself as an outsider at all. After all, it is his girlfriend's home, the key is that there are no parents. Don't be in a hurry to take off your shoes, I haven't bought the ingredients and beer yet. When they came to the entrance, Igarashi Runa saw that he was completely at home and planned to take off his shoes without any greeting, but stopped. You want to buy it now? Kurosawa Hikaru, who was bending down, naturally knew that he hadn't bought the ingredients yet, so he stopped and looked up at her. Tonight was a home date between him and Igarashi Runa. In order to make it more interesting, the two of them agreed to go shopping and cook dinner together through discussion. If it's any later, the good ingredients will be sold out. Igarashi Runa nodded. Do you want to go out dressed like this? Kurosawa Hikaru noticed that she seemed to have no self-consciousness and glanced at her sexy outfit. In fact, girls with big breasts are not suitable for wearing a camisole, but she wears it very well. This is related to her being very good at dressing, and she knows how to dress it just right. Although he liked the way it looked pure and lusty, it was okay to wear this kind of outfit at home, but it would be too sexy if he went out on the street. To put it bluntly, if Runa Igarashi goes out on the street like this, the rate of turning her back will be at least 500%, and every man will turn his head at least 5 times. Absolutely no man can resist such a temptation, killing everyone from an 8-year-old child to an 80-year-old grandfather. How is that possible? I still have to wear a coat. Seeing his dissatisfaction, Igarashi Runa smiled softly in the face of this unconcealable possessiveness, held his arm, and said coquettishly. Her voice was very charming, with a smile that made people's bones tingle. Did you buy the suit of clothes new or before? Seeing her charming appearance, Kurosawa Hikari was really fascinated and couldn't help but ask. He has known for a long time that Miss Runa is a very charming and mature lady, but now it seems that he still underestimated her charm. Girls who have good clothes are a plus, girls who have a figure, good clothes, and good looks are invincible. With Ms. Runa's condition and appearance, if she used her own advantages to pursue her, there would probably be too many boys to pursue her. I bought it before. Has anyone seen it? Hikaru Kurosawa is a bit tasty. Unlike Chizuru-san, who is cold and abstinent, which makes people intimidated, Runa-san's femininity is simply overflowing and kills all members of the opposite sex. Even if it's crooked, I'm afraid it will have to be straightened when facing her. She has shoulder-length short hair, which is so feminine. If she had long hair, it's hard to imagine how attractive she would be. Of course someone has seen it, Chizuru has seen it. Igarashi Runa originally wanted to tease him, but when he saw his face turn dark, he quickly added. What about the rest? Kurosawa Hikaru breathed a sigh of relief and asked again. Except for Kinzuru and you, no one else is so lucky. Seeing that he was quite jealous, Igarashi Runa was really amused and hummed. She really didn't expect this little man to be jealous so easily. She actually only wore this low-cut vest with suspenders once, because he thought she was too sexy like this and it would be dangerous to wear it out. As a fashionista, she naturally knows that wearing it this way is too revealing. After wearing it once, she throws it away in the closet. If she hadn't rummaged through the box today, she wouldn't have even remembered that she still had this little vest. Put on your coat and take a look. Facing her proud smile, Kurosawa knew that his jealousy was too obvious, but he didn't care and said. When a boyfriend cares about his girlfriend's outfit, the feeling he brings varies from person to person. Some girls, regarding their boyfriend's restrictions, think that their boyfriend is too controlling and you are too lenient. What clothes I wear is none of your business. Some girls are very happy about their boyfriend's restrictions, thinking that this is a sign of his love for her. If you don't care about her, she will not be happy and feel that you don't care about her. The difference between these two types of girls lies in their consciousness and feelings. Tokyo's Most Affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 526. Igarashi Runa put on a coat. Although it still couldn't hide her heavy fruits, she couldn't directly see her snow-white skin. Although they had just walked in, they were out together in an instant, heading to a nearby supermarket to buy ingredients. As dinner time approaches, students, whether they are having a day off or busy office workers, are all heading home one after another. What do you think others will think when they see us? Do they think we are siblings, or a couple? Igarashi Runa held Kurosawa Hikaru's arm and was quite happy to notice the glances from around her from time to time. From her point of view, taking Kurosawa Hikaru out was so honorable. Because Kurosawa is so handsome, with idol-level looks. Which one do you want? Kurosawa felt comfortable being held by her arm and looked sideways at her. I have to say that even if she puts on a coat, this flower-like woman looks particularly mature and charming, perhaps due to the difference in temperament or eyes. Because of the difference in appearance and temperament, it is not surprising that everyone thinks they are siblings. Of course they are the newlyweds. Igarashi Runa didn't follow the routine and gave the third answer. Her pursuit of romance is not vigorous, but ordinary. She has seen too many men in the entertainment industry abandon their families and children after having successful careers. She has seen too many staged loves on the set. They are sweet in the scenes, but strangers outside the scenes, which are too fake. That's why she prefers the feeling of two people living together, even if they go shopping together, it's fine. Then you guessed it right. Kurosawa Hikaru couldn't help laughing when he heard this answer. What? Igarashi Runa was a little confused. I heard some people guessing we were newlyweds. Kurosawa raised his free arm and pointed to his ear. His hearing is very keen, so he picks up all the whispers of others. Everyone felt a lot of emotion when they saw them. Some people think that they are so good looking that they might be a celebrity couple. Some people think that there seems to be an age difference between them, and they may be siblings, or they may be in love. Some people are envious of their feeling together and think they are very sweet and newlyweds. Really or not, did you hear what everyone said? Igarashi Runa was surprised because she heard nothing. Maybe they knew that everyone saw them and were whispering to each other, but they couldn't hear clearly. My hearing is pretty good. Kurosawa Hikaru nodded slightly and affirmed. While talking, they went to the supermarket. Neon supermarket ingredients are usually not freshly killed, but mostly packaged and refrigerated. For example, pork, beef, fish, etc. are divided and packaged according to their parts. Although they don't pay attention to fresh meat, Neon's ingredients pay attention to freshness, which is the tasting period. Ingredients in supermarkets start to be discounted every evening. The later the time, the stronger the discount, and we strive to sell out the ingredients every day. If the ingredients cannot be sold out, they will never be kept overnight, but will be thrown away directly. Tonight is a celebration banquet, so when it comes to buying ingredients, they naturally choose mostly ingredients that go with drinks. However, I only planned to drink until I was tipsy tonight, so I didn't buy much wine, only 6 cans of beer. Not long after, they bought enough ingredients and started on their way home. Thanks for your hard work. Igarashi Runa was very concerned when she saw him carrying large and small bags. This little weight is nothing. Kurosawa Hikaru shook his head. Not to mention that his body had been strengthened. Even if it had not been strengthened, there was no pressure at all on this thing. It's just the two of us celebrating. Wouldn't it be bad if Chizuru knew about it? While walking on the street, Igarashi Runa felt uneasy even though she enjoyed being with him and living a leisurely life. Just make it up to her later. There won't be many days like this. Aren't you going to buy groceries with me anymore? As long as you think about it, if I have time, I will definitely accompany you to buy groceries. But after this period of time, if you move to the villa to live with Sister Kinhee, we won't be able to buy groceries together like today. Kurosawa Hikaru shook his head, while assuring himself, he also explained. He had a feeling that the reason why Ms. Runa hadn't moved there after she found out that Ms. Chizuru had moved and eliminated the estrangement was that she longed for such a date at home. Really? Igarashi Runa thought for a while, nodded slightly, and agreed. Even though she moved to the villa and lived with Chizuru, she could still hold hands with Kurosawa and go to the supermarket to buy groceries like today. But when they get home, Chizuru will be there too, so they can't be alone like tonight. She was looking forward to living with Kinzuru, and she also longed for the three of them to live together. But before that, she still wanted to experience the feeling of dating alone. You know, although she and Kurosawa spent a lot of time together alone, they had very few dates. Not long after, they returned home. As soon as she got home, Igarashi Runa unzipped and took off her jacket. Needless to say, even in the evening, wearing two pieces of clothing in the summer is really hot. I asked you to wear a coat just now. Did it make you feel uncomfortable? Kurosawa Hikaru, who was taking off her shoes at the entrance, couldn't help but ask when he saw her eagerly taking off her coat. Even though Ms. Runa didn't seem very disgusted with her having to do with her clothes, there were still some things she had to ask clearly. Because of the future teachings, he fully realized the importance of frank communication. There are two main reasons for conflicts in interpersonal relationships. One is insufficient communication, which leads to misunderstandings, and the other is talking too much, which is annoying. There are some things that you can't say, but it's better not to say them. As the saying goes, if the eyes cannot see, it is pure, and if the ears cannot hear, it is clear. For example, if he is dating other girls, don't mention it if you can. There is no need to make people worry. How can I feel uncomfortable? It would be better to say that I am very happy. Runa Igarashi, who took off his coat, looked back at him and shook his head. Real. Hikaru Kurosawa wanted definite answers. Even if you don't tell me, I will still wear a coat, but you take care of me and make me feel like I belong. Igarashi Runa nodded, put on his slippers, brought him a pair of slippers from the side, raised his head and smiled. She knew how attractive her looks and figure were. It was like this on weekdays. If she dressed up specially and walked out, she would definitely be asking for trouble. Are you dressed like this just for me to see? Kurosawa Hikaru watched her move to lower her waist and put the slippers in front of her face, and his eyes were directly attracted. What do you think? I'm not an exhibitionist. Realizing that he had just reacted, Igarashi Runa straightened up and rolled her eyes at him. Hee hee. Kurosawa Hikaru laughed a few times and put on his slippers. After all, he also made up his mind not to care about such things in the future. Because Ms. Runa is self-conscious and very mature. She is an older sister's girlfriend, so she can take good care of herself. If she is not a younger sister's girlfriend, she won't make people worry. Immediately, they walked into the living room together. Wow, it feels good. Igarashi Runa walked into the living room and couldn't help but sigh in admiration as the cool breeze from the air conditioner blew. Maybe Neon's electricity bill is very expensive, but she is considered a rich person. She just goes out to buy ingredients, so there is no need to turn off the air conditioner. After all, tonight's date was important, and she didn't want to have any regrets. Should we take a rest first, or should we just make dinner? Everyone doesn't like the coolness. Kurosawa Hikaru felt refreshed all over his body. He smiled when he saw her closing her eyes and opening her arms, as if she were hugging an air-conditioned room. Sit down for a while first. It was only 6 o'clock in the evening. Igarashi Runa thought that there was still a lot of time and things needed to be done step by step. After that, she walked straight to the sofa and sat down. Are you tired? Kurosawa Hikaru did not walk over directly, but walked towards the kitchen carrying large and small bags. Maybe he didn't come to this home many times, but he was still very impressed and knew the distribution of various rooms. Fortunately, can you give me a schedule starting next week? I can discuss cooperation with Apple. Igarashi Runa shook his head slightly, turned around and lay on the back of the sofa, watching his movements. No problem. He walked into the kitchen, took out the beer and put it in the refrigerator to cool Kurosawa, and shouted back. 100 billion yen is not easy to come by. He has to cooperate with Apple to record a 10-track album. In addition, he also shoots promotions and serves as the spokesperson for the Apple Music software. As expected, he will be very busy this summer vacation. After school starts, I should have a lot of free time. But it is impossible for him to be completely idle like before. Because after a boy has a girlfriend, he will definitely no longer have so much free time, and he has to consider his girlfriend. This is true for one girlfriend, let alone 5 girlfriends. After putting the ingredients away, Kurosawa washed his hands and walked out of the kitchen. Kurosawa, you call Chizuru's sister Chizuru, why do you still call me Miss Runa? Igarashi Runa, who turned around and rested her chin on the sofa, watched him wipe his hands with a tissue and couldn't help but ask. Actually, I've thought about changing my name, but I don't know how you want me to call you. Kurosawa Hikaru naturally wanted to change his words, but was delayed by various things. Of course it's Runa-sama. Seeing him letting her choose, Igarashi Runa knew the answer without thinking. Elder sister. Kurosawa Hikaru was a little stunned when he heard this request. Runane and Runane may be the same word, but their calling methods are completely different. By the way, do girlfriends who are sisters like their boyfriends to call them sister? Chizuru-san is like this, and Runa-san is like this too. She obviously cares about the age gap, but when it comes to addressing the issue, she doesn't care anymore.